Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have a sub today for first period. I have another sub again on Monday for one more funeral. I am sorry to be a downer. That is just the nature of what I am going through right now. So I'm doing the best I can to get you some notes. We're going to take some notes here on 6.4. 1, 2, 3 examples are what I see here. We'll do the examples together, but let's get to where you are going to write down what you're going to write down right here. We're going to write this stuff down. Substitute teacher, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit right there. And what I want to do, let me make sure that I have this centered on the screen. What I want you to do, substitute teacher, is press the enter button in just a moment. That will pause this video. That way students can write down what you see. And then as soon as everybody is done writing down, I will start going through this. Go ahead and press enter now. I am hoping you press enter again, and now we are back and you've written all this stuff down. What happens with the altitude of the hypotenuse of a right triangle, that means this thing right here. This altitude, the one that is perpendicular to the hypotenuse of this big triangle, it divides the triangle into two triangles that are similar to the original triangle and to each other. So there are 3 triangles here. And if you can't see the 3 triangles, there's the little triangle, the medium triangle, and the big triangle. The 3 triangles are similar, and I asked you to write them individually from smallest to largest. The way that we're going to do this is that we're going to look at the smallest triangle and then name it from small to middle to largest. So let me cover this up right here. Let me just zoom in just a little bit so you can really get an idea of what we're doing. If I'm looking at this small triangle, here's the hypotenuse of this triangle, and I want to know the smallest side. This is the shortest side right here. Then this is the medium or the middle side, and then the hypotenuse of this short triangle is AC. That's the longest side of the small triangle. In the smallest triangle, let's write these individually from smallest to largest. So I'm going to recommend that you do it this way because this is the way that I do it, and it really has helped me out as I do these problems. I have the shortest side, then the medium side, then the longest side. I'm going to write that in order. I'm going to write it small, medium, and then the large, I'm not going to worry about. Small, medium, large. ADC. Triangle ADC. That's for the smallest triangle. And what that is going to be, that's going to be similar to the middle triangle. Which one's the middle triangle? This is the smallest triangle. I'm going to color it in red. Now I'm going to go over to the middle triangle. The middle triangle is this one over here. I'm going to color it in blue. And I want to do the same thing. I want to do this from small to medium to large. So I kind of cover up this idea and go, this is the shortest side. This is the middle side. This is the longest side. When you write it in order. Write it from shortest to medium, and then ignore this longest side. We're going to use these 2 letters and then these 2 letters. It's going to be triangle CDB. Small to medium to large. And that one's going to be similar to the largest one. The largest triangle, I'm going to just put here in green. The largest triangle has a small side, a medium side, and a larger side. And in the same order, we're going to write it small to medium, and then ignore that largest side, AC, B. What you'll notice is with these three triangles are all similar to each other. We can write a similarity statement, and a really long one if you wanted to. We can write triangle ADC is similar to triangle CDB is similar to triangle ACB. Now, I could write that in any order I want to. I could write it CDA is similar to triangle BDC is similar to triangle BCA. As long as the angles match, they will still be similar to each other. Because I want you to do everything the same, and it makes my life easier and your life easier, if we all just agree to go small to middle to large, then we'll all be fine. That means the shortest side, then the medium side, using the 2 letters from the shortest side and the 2 letters for the medium side. That's pretty much all we need to write for every triangle. Make sense? And if you don't know which the longest side is, the hypotenuse is always the longest side in a right triangle. The last thing that I have that for you to write down before we get to our examples is this little one here, this star. What I'd like for you to do, Mr. Substitute Teacher, or Mrs., is to press the Enter key, and we'll pause and then come right back to it. And you've pressed Enter again, and now we're coming back. When setting up these problems, keep proportions lined up by length. Shortest compares to shortest, middle compares to middle, and longest compares to longest. In all of the problems that you have to do today, this is the most important idea. So I'm going to give you 3 examples. If you want to do them in your textbook, you can. You're welcome to pull out your book. The next 3 things are examples, and so I want to show you. This is number 5 in your book. If you need to pause, pause, but if not, I'm going to just go right into it. The first thing that I wanted to show you in this problem is that this side here, the hypotenuse of the big triangle, isn't given to you. You're going to have to figure out what it is. We know this little short side is 3. We know this medium side is 9. But the long side is not given to you. You guys can figure out what it is. This length from here all the way to here is a distance of 12. That's important. That's something we're going to need and we're going to use in this problem. This says solve for x and y. I'm going to find x first. So the first thing that I see is I see an x and I see a 9 in the medium triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write x over 9. And what that is that's the hypotenuse, or the longest side, over the middle side, right? What I need to do then is I need to figure out where there's another hypotenuse and middle that has either an x or a number in it. Now let me look at the shortest one. Hypotenuse. Is the hypotenuse given of the smallest triangle? Nope. Can't use that one. What about the large hypotenuse of the biggest one? The hypotenuse of the biggest one, that is given to us. What is it? It's 12. They have to match. Hypotenuse on top, hypotenuse on top. 12 over, I need over, this 9 was the middle of the large triangle. Of the large triangle, the middle piece is x. Now you might look at this and you might say, wait, there's variables here and variables there. Yes, this is how you're going to set up a lot of the problems. This is a reason why you had to learn unit 0 first. You'll see in a second. Okay, this is hypotenuse over middle. And by the way, this is the big triangle. Big triangle, big triangle. And this is the middle triangle, mid triangle. Just so you kind of have an idea of how I'm setting it up. This is why we wrote down that paragraph. Now, when you set this up and you have this, you're still going to do the product of the extremes and the product of the means. 9 times 12 is 108. X times x is x squared because there's two factors of x. Now that we have that, and I want x by itself, the only way to get rid of that square is to square root. And as we learned on the last test, we always make sure we reduce these things and put them into lowest terms. If I want to square root that, which I'm breaking out my calculator now, lowest terms, it is 6 root 3. I do like these in radical form. If you forgot how to do that, equals the square root of 108. Let's factor out a 2 and 54. I see a 2 and 27, a 3 and 9, and a 3 and 3. Remember pairs? One pair factors out. Another pair factors out. The 3 stays on the inside. What does that simplify to? Your x is equal to 6 root 3. See how it works? Well, if that's how you do it, see if you can set up for y, and we'll give you some time to try it. Substitute teacher, if you would pause the video and give them a chance to do y, we'll come back and I'll give the answer. Coming back, the way I set this one up is I see a short over medium. Short over medium. I'm just going to write shortest side over medium side is equal to, I need another short and another medium where I'm given information. I don't have that for the big triangle. That's not the short one. But what about if I cover this one up? The shortest side is a 3 and the medium side is the y. I'm using two different triangles. For this triangle, I'm using the middle triangle. And for this one, I'm using the shortest triangle. In case you didn't know. And then what? Cross multiply. Square root. If you don't know how to do that, break it down. Look for pairs of squares. You're looking for things that are 2 because we need 2 factors to break out. And now you have what your y value is. Did we answer the question? Solve for x and solve for y. Yes, we have. Give your answers in radical form. For those of you who also don't know, the calculators that I have in the classroom, I'm going to turn that light back on, have a square root feature that you can use here as well. So if you want to double check and you press, clear that out, square root of 27, and you were to type enter, your calculators, these ones, the Casios, the ones I recommended, do things in radical form, which is kind of nice when you're double checking your arithmetic. You can even do the square root of 108 like we did before, and it will double check your 6 root 3 that you had before. Hopefully that helps you. Next example, number 9. Use the figure to complete each proportion. G over E, they look like they're both from the smallest triangle. Small triangle. And then I see E over something and we don't know. So if this is a small triangle, I have G over E, and I want to say G is the short side, and E is the middle side. Then what I need to do is figure out E is the short one of which one. It has to match up with the short of which one is the shortest one of this middle triangle. And this middle triangle, what's the middle side of this middle triangle. Is it E, H, or F? I hope you know. Actually, that's lowercase, huh? So let's do that. Let's erase that. Let's put lowercase h. Use the figure to complete each proportion. Number 9, the correct answer is H. Pretty simple, right? These things help me when I'm figuring out those problems. I hope that you're doing something along those lines in order to figure it out. Last example. 31. 31 is one of those problems where I'm like, we better do this one together just because. Okay, first thing I see this right side triangle. I have x over x plus 2. The x plus 2 is a hypotenuse, and trying to determine, I'm pretty sure x is the shortest side. And I'm using the right triangle. Now what do I need? I need a hypotenuse that I know. Do I know the hypotenuse of the left triangle? Nope. I do know the hypotenuse of the big triangle, though. Let's use the big triangle. The hypotenuse of the big triangle is not 5 and it's not x. If I want to add these distances together, it is x plus 5. That's what the denominator needs to be. I also need the shortest side of this one right here. Shortest one, this is x plus 2. Now when you look at this problem, I mean, that looks ugly, nasty. Let's have a little bit of fun. This is one of the reasons why we did Unit 1. It's so that we can multiply the extremes. I do recommend that you actually write it out. That way you don't forget about the distributive property, and you don't forget about foiling. The product of the means should be equal to the product of the extremes. So on the left side, I'm going to distribute this x into both of these terms. I get x squared plus 5x. For the right terms, I have to FOIL this out. First, outside, inside, last. Some of you do the box method with that. Some of you do the double distributive property with that. So x times x is x squared plus 2x plus another 2x plus 4. I'm going to simplify that. X squared plus 4x plus 4 equals x squared plus 5x. Looks still pretty nasty, but at this point it gets really easy. Watch, we just subtract x squared from the right side. Whatever I do on the right, I have to do to the left to keep it balanced. X squared minus x squared goes away. Let me just scoot this up a little bit. 4x plus 4. That just got a whole lot easier. X is equal to 4. Is that what the direction said? Find the value of x. Did we find the value of x? Yes, we did. If I plug it in, does that make sense? 4 and 6. I'm pretty sure that that's going to make sense as we do it. That's where we're going to end for our notes on this section. When you are ready to start the next one, give it a go.